My first memory of Britney Spears is a McDonald's VHS tape with her and NSYNC. Back then, she was just part of the background of growing up. But then, 2007 happened. The head shaving, the hospitalizations, the paparazzi photos that were literally everywhere, and my reaction was the same as most people's. Something must be really wrong with her. And that narrative followed her for the next 20 years, including 13 of them spent under a court-ordered conservatorship that controlled her finances, her career, and her personal decisions. So naturally, when she got arrested for DUI in Ventura County in March of 2026, a lot of people said what they always say about Britney. She's spiraling again. Free Britney failed. She needs help. And I just nodded along at first. But one detail stopped me in my tracks. The fact that this was the first time that Britney Spears had ever been formally arrested. Yeah, across 20 years of some of the most documented personal hardships in celebrity history, she was never once handcuffed and booked. She went through 13 years of that conservatorship supposedly designed to protect her from herself before finally getting freed from it, and just 5 years later, here we are. And when I sat with that, I couldn't shake the feeling that we've been reading her story completely upside down. Because when you look at the full arc of what happened to Britney Spears, there's a pattern that I don't think people give enough consideration. You see, throughout the 2000s, Britney was dealing with a lot. Public breakdowns, hospitalizations, and the kind of media coverage that made her personal life feel like public property. And then in early 2008, she was placed on 2 involuntary psychiatric holds, which gave a legal opening to petition for a conservatorship to her father. So just like that, her finances, her career, her medical decisions, all of it went through her dad. And the part that's easy to overlook is that during those 13 years, she was working constantly, touring, making albums, a Las Vegas residency that grossed over $100 million. And the public looked at all this and said, see, it's helping. Britney's stable. While the people billing her estate looked at it and said, see, keep going. And here's something that I think a lot of people still don't fully register. In her 2021 testimony, Britney revealed that she didn't even know she had the right to petition the court to end her conservatorship because her own court-appointed lawyer had never told her. So she wasn't just contained, she was being kept compliant through not knowing she had any other option. But then in 2021, the conservatorship finally ended, and the verdict from everyone became she finally won. She's finally going to be okay. But almost immediately, the machine around Britney Spears just disappeared. Her manager of 25 years resigned, her wealth management firm withdrew, and her father got removed from the picture entirely. So there was no clean transition into legal independence, no support structure put in place, and no plan for what comes next. So now it's 2026. She's alone on the freeway at night, driving under the influence. And the verdict is, once again, Britney Spears is spiraling. But here's what I think some people are missing about this entire situation. Everyone treats the conservatorship like it was an attempt to fix her, like it was care just in a legal form. And so when things fell apart after it ended, the easy assumption was that she was just unfixable. But court filings and forensic investigations commissioned by her own legal team documented tens of millions of dollars in professional fees pulled from her estate over those 13 years of her conservatorship. Lawyers, conservators, security firms, managers, all of it billed from Britney's money to manage Britney. And you don't need a conspiracy theory to understand why a system that profitable doesn't volunteer to end itself. I mean, she even said it herself in open court back in 2021.
I am traumatized. Fake it till you make it. But now I'm telling you the truth, okay? I'm not happy. I can't sleep. I'm so angry, it's insane, and I'm depressed. I cry every day, and the reason I'm telling you this is because I don't think how the state of California can have all this written in the court documents from the time I showed up and do absolutely nothing, just hire with my money another person to keep my dad on board. Ma'am, my dad and anyone involved in this conservatorship and my management who played a huge role in punishing at me when I said, no, ma'am, they should be in jail.
That's not someone describing care. That's someone describing containment. And when containment ends without anything replacing it, you don't get recovery, you get exposure. And I'd argue she wasn't released into freedom in 2021. She was released into a vacuum. The same environment, the same pressures, the same internet, minus the one structure that had at least been managing all the chaos. And what makes this even harder to look away from is that a couple months earlier, she sold her entire music catalog for $200 million. So on paper, she was the most financially independent she had ever been in her life. And right after that deal went through, she not only fired her sobriety coaches, she also let go of the security team that had been keeping an eye on her the entire time. So the moment she had more money and more freedom than she'd ever had before, the last remaining people whose job it was to look out for her were gone. The conservatorship was never about her recovery. It was about her compliance and about money. So now after the arrest, her rep put out a statement, and I want to read it to you because I think it says everything. Hopefully, this can be the first step in long overdue change that needs to occur in Britney's life. Her loved ones are going to come up with an overdue, needed plan to set her up for success for her well-being. Her loved ones are going to come up with the plan. And if I'd read that to you without telling you when it was from, you might have assumed it was from 2008, because it's the exact same language of the conservatorship. Someone else decides what change needs to happen. Someone else designs the plan. The people around her determine what success looks like. So the court order is gone, but the dynamic is practically identical. And since the arrest, Britney's been laying low at her Thousand Oaks mansion. We have her rep statement, we have her manager on the record, and we have all the same familiar voices saying all the same familiar things. Look, I don't know what Britney Spears needs. I don't think anyone does. But I know that her loved ones are going to come up with a plan is not the same thing as her being the one who decides. And until that changes, I don't think the headline changes either. And Shia LaBeouf's been making headlines lately too, because he got arrested in New Orleans during Mardi Gras. And I decided to explore why these kinds of things keep happening to the guy. So click on this video to learn more.